Well, let's hear it from one of those young people who've taken on the baton. Emily Harrington, who visited El Salvador all the way from Notre Dame High School in San Jose, Califa, Slan. Let's hear it for Emily. Come on up.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Emily Harrington, and I'm a senior at Notre Dame High School in San Jose, California. This past summer, I went on an immersion trip to El Salvador with my school. It was truly an immersion into Salvadorian culture and historical heartache. We visited sites and learned about horrible atrocities that occurred during their civil war. I already knew some background on the School of America's WINSEC, but was shocked to learn how many of these horrible murders and massacres were carried out by graduates of this school. One of the massacres involved 6 Jesuit priests: Ignacio Elicuria, Ignacio Martinbaro, Segundo Montes, Armando Lopez, Joaquin Lopez y Lopez, and Juan Moreno were repeatedly shot until they were nearly unidentifiable. The death squad blew out their brains in a symbolic action of destroying the priest's intelligence and to frighten other people away from seeking education about these injustices. Their housekeeper, Elba Ramos, and her 14-year-old daughter, Selena, had rifles shoved up their genitals and fired. Their bodies were left twisted and bloodied on the floor. Another was the massacre at El Mozote, where nearly 1,000 innocent and unarmed people were murdered by a U.S.-trained death squad, which invaded their village. Men were separated from families and killed first. The soldiers tore babies from their mothers' arms, threw them up in the air, and caught them on the bayonets of their guns. Small groups of women and children were moved to other buildings throughout the day, where they were shot, killed, and burned. The entire population of the village was completely wiped out, except one survivor, Rufina Amaya. Through Rufina's stories, the world learned the truth about the horrors that happened in El Mozote. The following 2 events were carried out by the El Salvador military, which was supported by United States tax dollars. While in El Salvador, I visited the site where 3 nuns, Dorothy Kazel, Ida Ford, Mara Clark, and lay worker Jean Donovan, were raped and left dead on the side of the road. These 4 American women were in El Salvador to support and care for the poor. They were seen as a threat to the right-wing militaristic government. Again, our tax dollars supported the El Salvador government during their 12-year civil war, a government which inflicted pain, injustice, and death on their own people. I also visited the church in San Salvador, where Archbishop Oscar Romero, a man who was an image of hope and resurrection for the people of El Salvador, was assassinated while celebrating Mass. Still today, the people of El Salvador look to Archbishop Romero as a lasting inspiration and image for hope. Romero knew this to be true when he said, "If they kill me, I shall arise in the Salvadoran people." While in El Salvador, I met so many amazing people who had so little. As I returned home to my privileged life, where in comparison I have so much, I knew that I needed to turn this into something positive for the people of El Salvador. I am a woman of power and strength, of a voice that can be freely spoken, and of a country that guarantees my right to do so. However, it is the same country that trained and continues to train soldiers at this school. This must be put to an end. We must put this to an end. I come as a voice for the voiceless in El Salvador. I come to be a voice for those whose voices have been silenced by violence, by weapons, and by the cruelty of those trained at the School of Americas. This is why we are all here, to be present. Present to those who are victims of this brutality. Present to let their voices be heard through us, so that they will not be forgotten. The United States should never support a side of a conflict that wreaks destruction on innocent people. Our country should especially not be training the soldiers who instigate and participate in this violence. We can learn from the past, but we cannot change it. We can only change our future, so we must be active in the present. Presente. Thank you.